1966.
Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, and it's going to be awesome. We're having a little discussion this morning. I thought I would bring some value to you. This is a topic today. It's about long-term care, and we aim to have this topic, this type of topic every Sunday. And I will bring expert on to discuss it. And today, I'm excited to bring my very, very good friend in my business, Louis Tsai, and he's in the Los Angeles area. He is a realtor, formerly an IT person, and then he's also in our business, very successful in the financial service, and he does very well combining the two services. And one of the things that we were talking about is the misconception about long-term care. So I wanted to just, kind of have a discussion with him because he has some very personal stories to tell, and so do I. And so we wanted to just, bring some awareness so that you guys can get some value. All right, Louis.
Well, thank you, Ali, for inviting me to this. It is such an important step. Before, when I talk about long-term care, I only thought about, hey, I'm still young. I don't need it. It's going to be my parents who needs it. So during this time, I never thought about it so much until something happens to me. And that's when I realized, wow, long-term care is not only for the senior citizen. It could happen to anyone. It could happen to me right now. So that's when I got so curious about it and researched it. And I found out that I had no knowledge at all about long-term care because there are so many products out there. And I just don't have any idea where to start.
Yeah, your story was very, oh gosh. Your story was very, very shocking. I think it's unlike anybody else would it ever expect, right? Because most people think of long-term care is, like you said, older, and I'm not old yet. But man, when I heard your story, I was shocked. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened to you, makes you aware that, my goodness, long-term care is not for old people? What happened to you?
Yeah, whenever I think about that event, it still shock me to these days. But what it is I want to have a simple tooth extraction. And I went there in the morning, and then I was prescribed with antibiotics. But because I was so naive and I said, I seems to be okay, nothing's wrong with me. So I never took the time to go in and get the prescription medicine. I said it could wait until I come home from work. So that night I went to get the prescription and take the antibiotics, but never occurred to me that something is already happening to me. I was slurring. I was being. I sometimes I forget what I'm doing during the day, but I didn't know any of this. So I took the medicine, and for the next 3 days, it keeps getting worse. And to a point that where my wife said, I need to bring you to the hospital. And I said, wait, let me sleep on it tonight. Tomorrow, if I'm not well, then bring me to the hospital. And so I did that one. And the following day, I was just not by myself now. I couldn't remember anything. It's speechless. I do not even know how to describe those moments. But I went to the emergency room, and they did a CT scan and checked my what's going on with me. And immediately the following day, they decided we need to have surgery. What happened is the infection, because I took quite some time to take the antibiotic, the infection went to my brain. And it swells my brain to the point that it's affecting everything that I do now. And so they have to do surgery on me, brain surgery, and to drain out the fluid. And that's when I realized, wow, things like this happens to me when I did not even expected it. That it could happen to anyone. It could happen to even my kids who are still very young. So that's when I realized, we need to do something about it. Because what's hard is when you are in a extended amount of time recovering. So to me, after that surgery, I had to relearn everything. I have to walk. I have to learn how to eat. I have to learn how to tie my necktie, tie my shoelaces. My kids are helping me go to the shower to take a bath. So all of these things, I have to learn it. I have to learn my speech coming back. I have to learn math, you know, 2 quarters and 2 dimes, how much are they? Everything, some of the very basic. And while I was doing this for 5 months went by, that it's hard for the family because the burden was put on them. And all this time I was just learning, just want to get back. And then that's when I realized, wow, if we had long-term care at that time, then we don't have to worry about where to get the money to pay for all of this.
Yeah. And that brings up a subject, right? And I really appreciate you, vulnerably showing, that side. And the same thing happened to my husband, right? He was an executive, graduated from the best school, econ major, thinks he knows it all, and a lot of times we know enough to be dangerous, right? And then he never understood anything about insurance, never anybody taught him about insurance. So he invested a lot in the market. And then when there's a health crisis, and he's also very young, he was only 40 some years old when the health crisis happened. And then he couldn't work since he's 40 some years old. And, so I am his long-term care. And so that really, and I think most people do not understand. I remember when I first approached to a lot of people, they might think that I just want to sell them something. But honestly, it's because you and I have been through enough pain to know that this is such a crucial topic that most people are not aware. And they don't know how much, it's not the money even, right? It's the anguish of the family members like me when I was looking at my husband and I have to work because I provide and I have to, provide for him and also, taking care of him. It's really, really difficult. And I'm sure your wife went through the same thing. You're the breadwinner. It's scary for people. So I really think that's important. But how about you were working back then, right? You were IT. Did your health insurance cover long-term care?
No, not on long-term care. They cover some disability, but disability just get a portion of whatever your salary is. And that's only for extended amount of time, for about 6 months. And then after that, you're on your own. So things like this, you never thought about it. Whenever you said, I have benefit from work, what kind of benefit do we have, right? We never really look into those benefits because they're benefit. But once something happened, that's when we look at those fine prints and say, wow, this is not benefit at all. This is nothing at all, right? But like Ali and I, something happens to our life that made us look into it. When nothing's happening, when we are younger, well, it's okay. The benefit is there. It happens to all other people, not me. I exercise, I eat healthy. It's not going to happen to me. It will happen to other people, but not me. That has always been the case to everyone, not only to us, but to everybody. When they think about benefit, I'm covered. But when the something happened and they look at the fine print, the little tiny fine print that's written on the contract, it's just basic coverage.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? What is covered, what's not covered? I think that's really important is people think I have a friend who's a CPA and she has a friend that she's been trying to talk to him about long-term care. And he says, oh, don't worry, the government will pay for me, right? And so what they're thinking about is maybe like, government will take care. A lot of the people go to the government facility. And I always joke with people, I say, first of all, what kind of life do you want, right? Do you want a life that is a good, or do you want to be a life that is tied to the chair and then you once a while get fed and then, sitting in your own feces and all these things, right, for hours? I mean, what kind of life do we want? And I always tell people, I said, just go visit those facilities before you make a decision that you want government to take care of you, right? I mean, it's great that government does, right? But we need to be self-sufficient and also we need to really take care of ourselves. But like, have you ever seen people who just say that, like, government will take care of me, and
Yeah, a lot of times, right? In fact, I am one of them too, right? I always think that, hey, when I retire, and then Social Security kicks in, Medicare, Medicaid kicks in, what's there to worry about? Do I even go to those facilities to look at to check on those the facilities where they're gonna brings you whenever something happens? No, because to me at this time, it's not gonna happen to me. It will happen to somebody else, but not me. So I never look into that. But when like the event in my life happens, then I started to look into it, and I said, wow, I'm glad in a way that it happened at this stage of my life, because there's still time for me to go in and buy the appropriate product for myself. Because when I am 65, 70, and something happened to me at that time, it's too late for me to buy this product now,
Yeah,
right?
no,
It's too late for me to take actions now,
yeah,
because
great.
number one, I don't have any more time left. Number two, I don't have job anymore. So whatever the government gives me is what I get, and there's no more complaint at that time.
I love it. I think one of the things that you talk about products, right? Let's talk a little bit about the products and what's available, because everybody always says it's very expensive. And that's
Mhm.
like I hear all the time. And in fact, I have somebody recently told me that they have a life insurance and long-term care, and then the price going up. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. That's really important, because we are thinking of life insurance the same way we're thinking of the cell phone, right? But except our
Mhm.
mind, in terms of the way we think about life insurance or long-term care, is the way we think about the old brick phone, the phone that only does the phone call, right? Later on, we have all these smartphones, but our
Mhm.
mind is still stuck on the old brick phone. So let's dissect the types of long-term care. Can you tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the types of long-term care, like why the cost will go up?
Well, the again, it all depends on your budget, but the simplest long-term care is what they call use it or lose it. It's like your car insurance. If you drive for 10 years without any accident at all, you cannot go to the insurance company, car insurance company, and say, hey, I've been driving for 10 years, clean record. I need my money back. I did not cost you a dime at all. A car insurance company would say, no way, right? So same thing, the least expensive long-term care is what we call use it or lose it long-term care, right? If nothing happens to you, then you don't have anything coming back to you. So that's majority of the people takes that. That's because of the knowledge of that's because of the limited knowledge that they learn about this. Well, what's the deciding factor? It's because it's cheap. It's less expensive. I could afford that. But the benefit that it gives you, well, it's nothing compared to the other products that Ali's gonna talk about now.
Yeah, and I think one of the main thing, the reason why it go up, just people understands. That's why I think knowledge is such a powerful thing. I wish people will come in and learn about the different products and why they work or how they work, because I did not realize that there is a in government, government insurance company has a kind of like I would say a rule, a contract. And then what happened is, if the insurance company, first of all, nobody knows how much really we are facing in terms of long-term care costs. And everybody knows that now all the baby boomers are retiring by tens of thousands a day. So then they realize, wow, it's costing more. So then the old type of insurance that people got which is the like you said, by the standalone, then they couldn't cover the cost. So then they have to raise the price. Recently, we just saw in news that the price was raised by like I think it was like 94%, but it was supposed to be 200%, right? But they raised by
Mhm.
94%. They say it's a discounted, right?
Yes.
Increased by 94%. Imagine that's almost 100%. If I used to pay 500, it'd be 1,000. How many people can come up with that kind of money? So that's why
Mhm.
a lot of people have a very distasteful feeling about long-term care. But
Mhm.
there are different kinds, right? There's a different kind that is a hybrid. Hybrid long-term care is a little bit better. It's not use it or lose it. So if I, let's say like, Lewis buys one and then he never used it, then the money will have some death benefit. So the family will not just, have nothing come from that. So that's a second type, right?
Yes.
There's also the one that goes with the insurance policy. Let's say I buy insurance, 250,000, 500,000, $1 million. Then it's a 2 to 3 to 4% of the face amount. So it's 250,000 will be 5,000 a month. Of course, 5,000 a month currently might be okay for, at home care. But if you're looking at if you go to a facility, that's like 100,000 a year right now. And it grows about 6 to 7% every, few years. So it's quite expensive, right? So we need to look at that adequacy of the insurance coverage as well as the cost. But maybe like real quick, Lewis, talk a little bit about the cost. When should people buy, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm still young, like you said earlier, I'm still young. Why should I think about it now? I should just buy when I have money, right? So what's the concept on the when should people buy?
Of course, the younger you are, the better it is to buy, because you have enough time to go in and plan for it. At the same time, it's also not as costly as when you are older, just like me, right? So going back to that car analogy, right? When you buy a brand new car out of the dealership, when you get insured right away, it costs less to insure the car out of when you drive out of the dealership. Imagine if you got into an accident and you call an insurance company and said, hey, I got into an accident. I want to insure my car right now. Do you think the car insurance company will say yes to you, accept a damaged car? No, right? So we're going to go in, and when you insure yourself at a healthy age, when you don't have anything yet, you're still very healthy. That's how they calculate everything. While you're healthy, that means to say that we're going to charge you less. But when you get older, there's the diabetes, cholesterol, and all of them. They come into play now. Then they're going to charge you higher. Now, when it comes to my situation, wherein I got into brain surgery, they don't even covers me at all. I had to use a company that covers both my wife and myself, because they now rely on my wife being very healthy. That's the only way I get coverage. Otherwise, I get rejected right away. So we do not wait until it's too late to plan for it. Now, we always said, a lot of us did not plan to fail. We just failed to plan. And that is very true to me. I did not plan it when I was younger. When it's too late, then that's when I realized, wow, I could have done something earlier in my life. And so plan early is the best way to do it.
I love that. That's so true. And I'm always a planner. So I think I got that from my mom, right? She's a warrior. So I plan ahead. But I think a lot of the people, exactly like you said, they don't ever think that it will happen to us. It's always somebody else. So there is that procrastination. But also too, there's a lot of noises in the market, right? You hear experts who's like, don't buy life insurance yet, and buy term, invest the rest. And so what happened to people is they think that, okay, I'll just buy term, wait till the term expires, because term is so cheap, right? So let's say like a 20, 30-year term, and I'm now 50, 60 years old, then they start to shop around because they realize, oh, term expiring, I need to buy life insurance for long-term care purposes. Because I mean, God knows, right? Even though you have great kids, do you really want your kids to quit their job to take care of us when we're old, right? So it's not realistic. So let's say they start realizing, oh, I need to get some long-term care. 50, 60, 70 years old, how many people are healthy, right? So when the people experts say these things, I just feel like that's so irresponsible, because first of all, just like you were so young when that happened to you. My husband was so young when that happened to him. I have people who gotten sick, right? Like I have a friend of mine, I've been approaching for like 5 years, and then never listened to me for, all this time. And then every year I follow up because I just really want people to understand the importance of it. And then, she was diagnosed with cancer, right? So things like this, like, oh my gosh, like don't wait, because first of all, you can guarantee nothing in life, and
Yes.
that's so important. And the second thing is we are responsible for our life. Don't rely on the government, don't rely on the job to provide for you. Because
Yep.
tell you, we know 2020 happened and there's no job that's safe, right? So
Mhm.
it's really, I think, a waking up to just realize that life is about, planning. And it's like exactly like you said it so well, right? It's not planning to fail, but we can fail to plan. And then
Mhm.
sometimes we don't see the future, but the future arrives just, yesterday just comes like I've been in the US for over 30 years. It just came like that, right? So
Mhm.
it was really, really fast. So I hope that, most of the people will really adhere to these, really, I think it's like, I don't know if it's a warning, if it's like advice, right? But it's sincerely, right? You pay for something, you can go, people like, oh, I don't want to be paid. If you cannot afford, this is what I always tell people, right? If you cannot afford to buy life insurance, you definitely cannot afford to get sick,
Mhm.
right? Because if you get sick, it's going to cost you a lot more than a couple $100 you're going to be paying for a life insurance, right? So that's really important. Is that people realizing that insurance is a where insurance company give you money. Now goes back to the confusion in the marketplace, right? There are so much noise out there.
Mhm.
Come get educated because education is free. Get
Yep.
educated, so understand what your options are. Buy because you understand, not because somebody told you or sold you a product, right? I mean, lots of agents out there, everybody going to tell you it's great, but really,
Mhm.
do you understand and what is good for you? What are the options out there? What's the pros and cons of each product? There are lots of pros and cons. It's like,
Mhm.
I might buy a BMW. Do I have the money? I might
Mhm.
buy a scooter. I might not be protected, right? So
Mhm.
you have to
Yep.
understand the pros and cons. So I really think that, I appreciate you, Lewis, for sharing your experiences and helping people and, let people know how to reach you. Uh, how do they reach you? So that you can, so you can help them as well.
Yeah. I have a Facebook. Just go in and private text me. I'll go in and teach you everything. So what's good about this is we educate you, because once you are properly educated, then you yourself decide which one is the best product for me, right? If it's this product or that product, you yourself knows it. When you have that conviction that that is a good product, all I'm doing is just going in and helping you decide which one is the right one for you. That's all there is, right? But you must first educate yourself. I am just there to guide you. You are the decision maker. You know your budget well, you know the circumstances well, so you decide. But for you to decide that, you need to learn it, and that's what we offer, education. Then you decide which one to buy.
Yeah, sounds great. So, okay, well, concludes our interview session. I hope you guys enjoyed and let us know, comment below to see what kind of topics you'll be interested. We can talk about, 401ks, we can talk about the, different things, but I think the important thing is to cover the fundamental stuff, which is life insurance, right? And I have no problem talking about life insurance. People say, oh my God, life insurance, that topic, right? It's so crucial. It's so crucial. We do not know tomorrow, and it's really helps to give that peace of mind to your family and to yourself, protecting yourself properly. So I think that's important to understand it. But we have many topics we can talk about. So if you have any interest, we can bring on different experts to ask them, pick their brain. Like college funding is another one that's a huge, huge
Mhm.
one people don't know too much about, right? So when should we
Yes.
prepare for college? How much money do we need to prepare? Should I use a 529 account? All these things, right? And tax savings, another one that most
Mhm.
people, I used to do taxes, right? And I think that people don't know. There's so many. Why rich get richer is because they know stuff that maybe ordinary people don't, right? We use a 401k, which is great. We use 401k too. But is there another option that we can actually help us, right? So, don't be afraid to ask. You only get better by learning, and then when you learn, you execute. So I love what my very dear friend Il Sung Yen, she says, use the word cure. KURE, right? So know your numbers, understand your options and your risk, and then you gotta research the tools to solve that problem, but you gotta execute. There's nothing come from you sitting on the sideline and just waiting for the solution to just drop in your lap, right? We need to execute a plan. We need to follow through with the plan, and then you can have a life you want. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, and go out there, plan your life, have a wonderful life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.